Hello guys, Furball the Hammy, your friendly neighborhood hamster, is back again for another Hypixel Skyblock video. First off, let me give you guys a warning. Today's topic will be more philosophical than usual, but feel free to stick around. On a side note, if you think this video is going to help you progress faster in Skyblock, then click off this video. I'm honestly telling you, it's not going to help you progress faster. But what this video will tell you is that it will tell you how to truly enjoy Skyblock and to enjoy what Skyblock has to offer. Now, if you're looking for that, feel free to stay. Anyways, before we begin, feel free to subscribe to your hamster here as we are closing in on 20,000 subscribers, and at 20,000 subscribers, I will be doing 200 floor 4 dungeons, or 1000 tarantulas, or 1000 savants, or maybe all if I even have the time. And without further ado, let's begin at the video. We all probably wondered at some point in time when playing Skyblock, is an item worth grinding for, or what should I do next? And let me tell you guys why from my point of view, I think those questions are worthless. Especially when you are an endgame player or a late to endgame player. Firstly, before I begin today's discussion, let's talk about objectivity. Objectivity is being unbiased and to seek the absolute truth. In this case, Skyblock is all about player progression, from collections to slayers to skills to even dungeons. It is a goal in all of us to become a better Skyblock player, and that is an objective truth. That is why it is an MMORPG, to get better stats, beat higher floors, enjoy your riches, and maybe for some, to be the best player. And that is the objective truth, right? On the other hand, let's talk about subjectivity. Subjectivity is the opposite of objectivity and instead focuses on your individual experiences and uses it to make decisions, in contrast to objectivity, which seeks for a universal truth that works for everyone. Subjectivity instead seeks to make a decision unique to your own circumstances and experiences. Now, how does this relate to Skyblock, you may be wondering? And let me ask you a simple question. Why do you play Skyblock? Take a while to answer it. You know, I don't need any philosophical answers or very deep answers to this. In fact, most of you guys will probably respond with the most generic answer, which is because it is fun. And don't feel ashamed about that, because that is exactly what I'm looking for. Fun is one of the most subjective experiences in Skyblock, which is fully subjective and dependent on the individual themselves. Some enjoy seeing numbers go up after hours of work and see their in-game stats improve, and those are your skill and EXP dungeon grinders, while some enjoy playing with RNG, and those are your slayers, dragons, and S-rank dungeon grinders, while some enjoy competing with others for perfection, and these are your so-called tryhards. And last but not least, of course, some people will enjoy socializing and building, and those people don't really care too much about progression. So, how does this relate to today's video? Secondly, let's move on to what is ultimately worth grinding. If you are an endgame player or a late game player, or heck, just a player who is satisfied with their in-game progression, and if you do ask what you should do next, and let's say the response was to grind level 50 skills or to get a higher skill average, which is what objectively makes you a better player in today's meta, because all of the guild requirements are all skill based, or at least they are heavily skill based, right? And if let's say someone responded to you to get better skills and you respond with a groan of pain, then just don't do that. It's really that simple. Unless you are a competitive player who wants to be the objectively best player, then go ahead and get skills, get a 50 skill average, since skills are the most valued at the moment in the community, and I won't stop you. I can't be bothered either anyways. However, if you are like any other player, then just really do what you desire the most, because you are at late to endgame. Now this sounds very vague, so you guys may be asking, what the hell do I mean? And let me give you guys an example, right? Everyone knows me here, or most of you guys know me here, as a person who grinds slayers and now a bit more of dungeons. Despite knowing that my combat is already maxed at level 50, and both slayers and dungeons don't earn me as much money as something like flipping, have you ever wondered why I still constantly do slayers and dungeons like my life depended on it, despite not having any objective benefits? And with some of you guys also asking, how the hell do I do that many slayers? The answer is really simple to both things, because I just enjoy it. And that matters most to me. I play games for fun, not to be the objective best. And this is a subjective value that I place on the game, and I know many of you guys out there will agree with me. And of course, I am not denying the value of objectivity. For example, if you just started the game, feel free to ask around and seek advice on becoming objectively better, because objective and subjective goals, while not meant to be directly compared to one another, can be used hand in hand to help you achieve what you want. For example, having money and gear allows you to have the freedom to do what you want. Grind slayers, grind dungeons, grind dragons, grind whatever you want. But to get money and gear, you need money obviously, and using the objectively best methods to get money is worthwhile because it acts as a bridge to your subjective goals. Objectivity is still useful for newer players and for competitive players in the game who wants to be objectively better. Or maybe you are a late to endgame player who is already rich enough to afford this freedom. Perhaps try dropping objectivity and picking up subjectivity, because there is nothing wrong in being subjective. Thirdly and lastly, this is my appeal to you guys out there, right? For those of you who don't seek to be the objective best, and you are at a point where the value of progression is less than that of what you deem fun, then stop asking what you should do and just follow your heart. This is a game at the end of the day. It is okay to have subjective beliefs. You don't need to be a shadow in someone's footsteps just because they did X, Y, and Z. And to my appeal to those players who actively seek to be the best and the objective best, go on and be the best you possibly can, whether it be grinding for hundreds of hours of skills or whatever the meta desires in the future. But please, stop judging subjective players with your objectivity. To judge subjectivity with objectivity is not fair, because you can't use an unbiased perspective made to be unbiased to judge a biased perspective that was made to be biased in the first place based on one's individual values. It's just not going to work. And what's worse is that if you decide to push your objective perspectives onto a subjective player and insult or coerce them into grinding the objective meta. For example, there is a really simple analogy for this, right? I do slayers. Someone walks up to me and says, "Why don't you do auction flipping? Why don't you grind skills? Those things are a lot more impactful for what you are at now." I think that's fine. It's fine to do that. But what's horrible is when players insult other players for doing things that are not objectively the best. People in this community need to realize something called nuance. That there is not only just one way at looking at something. That if should two players of two opposing perspectives meet each other, it doesn't have to result in a conflict or someone has to be right or someone has to be wrong. And at the end of the day, that doesn't have to happen. It could either one, you guys can achieve on a compromise and maybe that's good, or secondly, to experience what the other person is actually feeling and why he or she is feeling that way about their own opinions. You don't need to accept it, you don't need to compromise it, you just need to understand. Because understanding brings a lot more nuance into your life, and I feel that we should not view the world in black and white, because the world is a lot more complicated than you think, especially when there are over billions of humans on Earth right now. What is more important is that we understand each other's needs and we don't judge each other's for our needs. Some people want to be the objective best, and that's fine, while some people just want to have fun in the game, and that's perfectly fine as well. There is no need to insult these players who just want to have fun, because it basically breeds unnecessary toxicity and divides the community further. And we all know Skyblock itself is really quite toxic in itself, and we don't need more of that. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I just wanted to talk this out because there is a lot more that can be done with the community, and I feel that the community in itself isn't bad, but it's just because it is made of a lot more younger of an audience. There is a lack of understanding and sympathy for one another, and the belief that one has to be right and the other has to be wrong. You don't need to compromise, just understand. And really, that's all I hope to achieve with this video. And with that, this is Furball the Hammy, your Slayer Maniac, signing out.